Alright guys, welcome back to another big tasty Supercoach video. This week we'll be going over the scores, the player scores from round 2 and a quick review of the already started round 3. Waited till, it's Friday now, but I waited for the Thursday lineups to come out just to make sure I don't make a trade, reverse it and forget to put it in the video. As you can see, last week, 2280, not a bad score, top 5%, could have been better. Had a couple of players that missed a ton that I think, not missed a ton, but had a fairly bad game, such as Dangerfield, Bont, Sicily. Yeah, we'll go over it in a minute. Season rank is pretty much in the bin for now. I don't play for rank, because if you say you have round 1, and like I had a pretty bad round 1, your score's screwed. It's too hard to make back up. So I just play for league, that's all. Alright, into the team. We got Sicily, 96. He led the Hawks in scoring, played a good game, just didn't see much of the ball. It was just kind of Geelong playing down the opposite side of the field to what Sicily was on. But that can happen to any defender, so that's not too bad. I don't mind it. Houston, though, so much for the midfielder. I think they have to take that midfield dual position off of him, because this man is bad. He doesn't go for the ball. If I remember rightly, he only had like a handful of centre bounce attendances. He wasn't too great. Missed an easy goal. I don't know. Not to spoil the later parts of the video, but I do think Houston is the trade out this week. Doherty, 93. He got robbed. I think he should have been at 105 again. 105 is his average. I think that's what he should have ended at. That final couple minutes where Carlton always was attacking forward. They took points off defenders for that. I'm not too sure why they did that, and he lost a lot of points, like almost 10 points in the span of like a minute. Ridley, 94, he was the guy I brought in for Roberton once the lineups came out and said that Roberton would be dropped. Whether he was injured or just dropped, I honestly can't remember. But Ridley, really nice first half, amazing first half. I thought I'd found like the steal of the season. But he did cool down. A bit of it was like Sicily on the wrong side of the field, but then a lot of it was just like Essendon players would look at him, see he's open, go, nah, I can take on the whole field. I'm looking at you, Sard. He does that all the time, and the commentators praise him for it when I think it's not the smartest idea. But anyway, Starcevic, 99, perfect. There would go on to be a rookie that would outscore him, but I thought for a while that he would be the top scoring rookie for the week. Really nice, good cash gen, considering that last round he didn't score too well. I'm fine with that. Brander, 58. He doesn't get dropped. I've seen the lineups. He didn't get dropped. That's good. On the bench, Bigsy T didn't play due to something around the... he didn't stay in the team hotel, or he broke restrictions, something like that. I can't really remember, to be honest. Trent Rivers played really nice. I do think he could have got a bit of a higher score. His efficiency kind of let him down a bit. Going to the midfield. If I can get this to scroll how I want it to. McRae got lined up on the wing all game. All game. Maybe like one or two CBAs he was in the middle, but I believe it's because of Lockie Hunter being out. That's my theory behind it, but this isn't good. That wing McRae, not great. Dunkley though had a good game, so if you got him, you'd probably be happy. Cripps, 117, had a stinker of 3 quarters. Horrible. He was down in like the 50s or something like that. I was like, oh god, don't tell me. That's another player that I could have waited on the price drop for. But yeah, he cleaned it up pretty big time. He had like a 60-point fourth quarter. He did miss the goal that would have won them the game. It wasn't Sam Walsh's fault. It was Cripps' fault that they lost that game. He had very easy shot on goals, and for someone that's as elite as he is, he really should have made them. Speaking of elite players that missed goals, oh my lord. Oh, Dangerfield. Boy, oh boy, wowee. 101 should have been 120, should have been 130. He did cop a tag. That's why I'm fine with it being a low score. Like I'm fine with being like 115, something like that. He did cop a tag, but I think it was like 1 and 3 shot attempts. That was horrible. So many easy shots. Misses him. Clayton Oliver. That's why I got him. 127. Matched up with Petrarca really well. It was always like Petrarca would go in, get the ball, handball out to Oliver. Oliver kicks it. Or Oliver gets a tackle. It was a really good pairing between them two. I'm looking to bring in Petrarca at some point, hopefully soon, before his price gets. He could potentially be like a 550 forward. Yeah, both of them really good. Viney got tagged, but he still ended up putting up a reasonable score considering it was a tag. Bont though. Bont. Horrible. As you can see in the thumbnail, I am not a fan of this guy this season. I go to sleep after every Bulldogs game with crippling depression because Bontempelli showed that he's not an elite midfielder anymore. He's always on the other side of where the ball is. He's not trying. He sees the ball and thinks, no, I'll wait for someone else to go get it and they can pass it out to me. And then because the Bulldogs mids are pretty average this year, they've got good potential, but they're just playing average. He doesn't get the ball, so he doesn't get any points. That 94 is simply because at like first quarter time he had 3 touches for 30 points. Champion data, I'm gonna need a lot more. That's great, but maybe you could 5 touches for 130. That'd be fine. Now the big man this week, one of the highest scores of the week. I want to say he's third, but there could be another player. I think Goldstein scored higher than 170. So I'm not too sure, but he's one of the highest scores this week. Matt Rowell. I can say his name when I'm not recording, but I can't say his name as soon as I press record. You know how it is. 171 looked great against the Eagles, stacked midfield. Everyone, including me, likes to say how elite the midfield is. He showed them that they're nothing. The Suns smashed them in large part to to Matt's performance. Keep going. Second game, I want to say third game 200. Yeah, only kidding. Pickett though is the opposite end of the spectrum. He's after the last night's game, Thursday night footy. I think Pickett's getting dropped. I don't see him keeping his spot. Richmond got completely destroyed. Richmond fans will come in and say, "Oh, it's because we didn't have Dusty," but nah, that doesn't explain that. That was zero effort. Very bad football until like the start of the fourth quarter. Bennell, in the like 50% time on ground he had, looked great. 59, I'll take it. But cash is cash. Once he gets to his proper 80-85% time on ground, I don't know who Melbourne dropped for him to be in like a constant midfield, but yeah, I'm fine with that. Now the bench midfielders all sucked. McKinnon-Lee was in the 30s for 95% of the game. Brown is one player away from getting dropped, and that player is Adam Treloar. And then Ed McHenry, who I brought in last minute because someone had been dropped or something had happened. Who was it? The Port guy. I can't pronounce his name. It's like Giorides or something like that. He had been dropped, so I moved Buderick into the forwards just so like that I have a guaranteed extra person playing. I thought McHenry would be able to do something. Good thing is he didn't get dropped, so happy for that. At least he's going to get a price change. Better than nothing. The rucks, haven't got to spend long analysing these. Grundy played really good, just got a 115. 115 is not a bad score. Gone 184, amazing. Dominated. He dominated Pitane, but Pitane still had like a 120. It's crazy. That game had really good ruck work on both sides. Whitfield 97, moving on to the forwards. Whitfield 97, missed the ton, but it was still a fine game. I do think there was a bit more that Whitfield could have done in the game. I did see him kind of like standing around a couple of times, but I mean North did really challenge GWS to do stuff in that game, and GWS just since the grand final they haven't really looked as good as they have been. And Toby Green's out this week, so maybe Whitfield work your way into the midfield, maybe, or maybe that means it's more Whitfield far up forward. Dusty 79, that was just due to the Collingwood game being so low scoring. It was, I don't know, people were saying it's because of the field conditions. Not really, it's just both teams were, I don't know, just playing good defense, bad offense, you take your pick. Devon Smith, 105. That's fine. Considering this guy was on like 5 at quarter time and then kicked a goal and went up to like 30. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So, and I've got him. I'm fine with it. Keep going. Curtis Taylor, 78. That's cool. Man, like I said last week, Curtis Taylor is really good in the North midfield / forward line. I wish they'd get him a bit more involved, like actively get him involved, but Higgins played a huge game, so I'd understand wanting to feed the ball to him, not to, I think this guy's on his second game. Pickett, I didn't have Pickett on field, by the way. I did have Buderick on field. I've just made the changes. But while testing trades last night, I forgot to I did reverse changes, and I forgot to put Dusty on the bench. So, I mean, it's not going to change it anyway. I don't think so, because, yeah, this would have been the lineup anyway. It would have been Sturton for Dusty. Not a big fan of Buderick. Even though he did have 62, it took that fourth quarter to get to 62. He was in low 40s for a while. Max King, 77. That's the tall forward. The blessing and the curse of being a tall forward. Kick goals, you get marks, you get a good score. You don't, you get stuck in the 20s. So he scored 77 this week. Could easily next week be 37. I don't like having him on field, but I mean, it's risk and reward. Risk and reward. My voice like died there. If you saw earlier, I did lose the week matchup. Wait for it to load up. Did lose to the Cheetah. It was pretty much the combination of Dangerfield scoring low, Bont scoring low, Neil having like a huge game, Cornelio having like 70 points at quarter time, him not having Bennell. It was a mix of things. But I do think it was a really close game, as you can see, only 9 points, which really means like Danger kicks one of those goals, I win the game. That's just how it is. But no, he decides he wants to be that forward that can't kick a goal. Now, as for the trades this week, we got Houston. He's out. I am not keeping him. Now, who do I trade him for? He's got to go to. He's not getting picked, and judging by the amount of time he spends on creating these TikToks and snaps and Instagram videos and all that stuff, I don't think he's going to be picked again. I don't think he's putting in enough effort for Essendon to bring him in, which is it's quite sad. In the mix for me is, if I can set it to that should kind of clean it up a bit. In the mix is not Howe. I'm not even looking at Howe. I was before, but I'm not anymore. He's jumped up to almost 20% ownership, 17.8. He's not on my radar because I don't think he can continuously keep this up, like these 120 scores. I think as in his role, it's very possible for him to score 140. I don't think it's possible for him to keep it up for multiple weeks. But Rampy is on my radar. End of last year, Rampy was legitimately a top defender. Or was it the mid last year? Something like that. When he was on that huge scoring run he was on, he was pumping out 130s a week. Really good player. Hearn, not so much. I'm not the biggest fan of Hearn this year. As an Eagles fan, I do think the age is really starting to catch up to him. But then again, I heard on the broadcast last night, you only talk about age when they're losing, so maybe that's what's coming up. But I did feel Hearn's age last year. Jake Lloyd, can afford him. No, I can't afford him. I don't even think I can afford Rampy. I can bring in the Zerk Thatcher replacement. That's going to be the guy who plays for Carlton. Here we are. Tom Williamson. He got named, and judging off reports and stuff I've read, he should keep his spot. I don't see why not. Let's see. So I could afford Rampy. I can go as high as Williams. Williams is a bit distressing. I think that's the right use of the word. He just didn't play much midfield or defence. He was chucked up forward, which was very interesting. Rampy, he gets the second hand of Lloyd's points, because a lot of kick-ins go, Lloyd kicks it in, kicks it to Rampy, so that's where the points come from. Tom Stewart, he's good, but I don't know what it is. I've just never been too big a fan of having him in Supercoach. I know he's a pretty reliable scorer. He's just the years I bring him in, he scores, or the weeks I bring him in, he scores 60. This is kind of that curse, Luke Ryan, he's on the radar. He's another player. As soon as I bring him in, he scores 60. But judging off, he played, what's that? That's 95% of the game, something like that, 92%. Good game. Now, someone I had on the radar that's not really on many people's radars is Braden Maynard. I had a look. I was watching some Collingwood tape. He did 3 or 4 kick-ins last week. Against Richmond. That looked good. There were only 4 behinds kicked by Richmond that whole game. He kicked in 3 of them. That's a good sign. He gets intercept marks as well. I won't be making the trade in this video. It's a big trade, you know what I mean. But you know who I'll be trading in. Or maybe I will make it here. Who knows? I'm thinking Rampy. How much would that leave me with? That would leave me with 25k, and Rampy, did I say that correctly? Oh, damn it, I did it wrong. Right, him and him. Rampy's ownership is only 1.2%. That's pretty good. He's a pod, and he's a game-winning pod. You can win a game off Rampy's score. He'd have 86 last week, but look at the upcoming. Okay, so if he scores good against Essendon, so that means he scores good against constantly attacking teams. North, their midfield does lead to attack. Ben Brown is constantly up there in the Coleman race, whether he comes second, whether he comes fifth, he's always in the top. So they play attacking. Dogs, no. Okay, so that I can concede is probably not the greatest scoring game for Rampy, unless the Dogs want to make a change. Melbourne, judging off this week, Melbourne, very attacking. Their midfield is very good this year. They weren't last year. So for the moment, I'm thinking, what if I go Dane Rampy here? This could be the big trade that ruins the season, because then I have a 543k guy that can't score consistently. Did someone say Jager Amira? Actually, speaking of the man, he had a huge game last night. Wasn't happy to see it. If only he had, what was it, fractured cheek. If he had done it last year and came out with the 140 or whatever it was, while he was on my team. Now, got to do that. There we go. Who else is here? Dan Houston's just been traded out. How? I explained. Salem, no. That's a fat no. Laird, Adelaide really aren't good this year, and I think that's showing up in Laird's scoring. It doesn't usually show up in defenders scoring if the team's bad, but in this case, it really is. I think it's just Laird not having anyone to kick to, anyone to pass to, anyone to kick to him. Rich, he's seen his role dropped. They brought in Birchall, a kind of restructured defense for Brisbane. I mean, it's paying off for him, but I don't think he's the smartest pick for Supercoach this year. Caleb Daniel, I've never really been a fan of. Tom Stewart, like I said, not really a fan. So really, it's Rampy, Williams. Because I didn't set it to that. Rampy, Williams, and Ryan, and Maynard. I'm not too sure what I'd do. Judging by this is being recorded 11 o'clock in the morning. I'll have a look if there's any comments on the video. Feel free to leave an opinion on who you think I should trade in. This probably won't be a trade being made until 7 o'clock tonight, right before the game starts. Go over the game day real quick. As you can see, already scored the 178. That's Sicily. He had Hooley. It is showing a missed player there, but that's Dusty. Sturt will come on once he plays. So we've got Whitfield, Bont, McRae, Curtis Taylor, Doherty, Brander, Starcevic, Gorn captain. He has Neil captain. No, not another Neil captain. Neil captain kind of was another reason I lost last week. Another 5. Walters. Ooh, he must have started Walters. This guy hasn't touched his team. I'm pretty sure of that. He hasn't got any emergency set besides his ruck. But anyway, Brad Hill, interesting pick. Jake Levy is another interesting pick. Brodie Smith, very interesting pick. But against Gold Coast, I could see something happening. Brodie Smith kicked a goal last week. Jacob Townsend, interesting. And Trent McKenzie. Alright, as you can see, this is an interesting week. I do think I'll win. The projections currently have me down, but like I said, that's because Dusty didn't play, so it's taken as 0. But yeah, I do think I win this week. It would be a pretty fair upset for me to lose this week. As you can see, these are kind of the matchups in the league this week. We've got Steven, another YouTuber. He's versing. Alright, I do have to bring this to the forefront. Owen, who I was versing last week, I did call him the cheater before. Information came out that he has 3 teams in this league. His own team, this team, Braden, and this team, Ben. He is working on all 3 of these teams. We found it to be a huge violation of competitiveness in this league. We tried to make it competitive. We brought in a couple of players that we knew were relatively good at the game, as well as some friends. I did mean to join more leagues than just one. I just kind of forgot about it. So this was the compromise was you have to keep up the teams because they're taking the spots of competitive teams. Also, because he'll grill me if I didn't shout it out, Jabin now has a YouTube channel. If I can find the link for it, I'll put it in the description. Same with Steven. I'm sure you're aware that he has a YouTube channel. Both, if I remember and if I can find it, will be in the description. If not, I'm sure you'll find them somewhere. But yeah, that's it for this week. Tell me if you like this kind of later recording session. This has been recorded on a Friday, as I said before. Until then, that's it for this week. Be tasty out.